And we are back. What's going on, everybody? UCF Jaguar coming at you from GenJag.com, and tomorrow on Wednesday, the players officially report back to training camp, and on Thursday is going to be the first training camp practice, which essentially ends the 2017 regular season, and it is the start of not the regular season yet, but the preseason. Now, the Jaguars are going to go off and running as Saturday will be the first day in full pads. And in less than 2 weeks, the Jaguars will be flying up to Foxborough to have joint practices with the Patriots before facing off with them the very first game of the preseason. And in this video, I'm basically going to do a training camp primer. So I'm going to go through 3 different storylines that I'm going to be looking at when training camp starts. And by the way, yes, I got a green screen in this bit. Now, the number one thing I'm going to be keeping my eye on this training camp is what the hell is our offensive line going to look like? There's been a lot of speculation on really mixing up the offensive line. So far, the front office and Doug Marrone are saying that there's a competition at left tackle between Brandon Albert and Cam Robinson. But the thing is, those 2 players I feel are on the top 5 talent-wise on the offensive line, and I feel like both of them need to be starting somewhere. Now, I've been saying this whole time, I would put Brandon Albert at left tackle and Cam Robinson at left guard. Now, Brandon Albert is an old player. I mean, he's been playing for over 10 years and he's played at a Pro Bowl level. And his whole entire career, he's been playing left tackle. So why in the hell would you move a guy that might have 2 more years left in his career? Why would you put him out at guard if he's played left tackle at a Pro Bowl level? Now, with Cam Robinson, I would either put him at left guard or right guard. Now, if the Jaguars coaching staff sees him as a future left tackle, then I would play him at left guard. But in my eyes, he could even be a better right guard, because the thing about him is I projected him as being a better guard just because he struggles in space sometimes, especially against fast edge rushers when it comes to getting around the corner on them. And Cam Robinson is a big, tough, run-blocking kind of lineman. And when it comes to your offensive line, you want your best pass blockers to be on the left side of the line to protect the quarterback's blind side, and you want your strongest run blockers to be on the right side of the line. And AJ Cann was somebody who struggled big time in the run game, but he was slightly better in the passing game. So it would almost make some kind of sense to maybe move AJ Cann out to left guard, which is what he played in college, and then move move Cam Robinson out to right guard. But do the Jaguars see him as being their future left tackle? If they do, then I'm keeping him at the left guard, because I just don't see a player who's been playing left tackle his whole life all of a sudden moving to the right side of the line at an unfamiliar position and an unfamiliar side of the line, and then all of a sudden after a year or 2 moving him back out to the left tackle spot. I just kind of think that's a little bit of a brain overload, and I just don't see that being the way that we should go. Now, I do want to give a quick shout out to my man Brandon Linder, who got extended to a 5-year, $50 million deal. He's the first of hopefully at least 2 more Jaguars that's going to be re-signed to long-term deals out of the 2014 draft class. Hopefully Allen Robinson and Telvin Smith will get inked sometime soon. But Brandon Linder, I think, is going to be our center. And like I said, man, keep Brandon Albert at that left tackle spot and move move Cam Robinson to an interior guard spot. See, I was a guy who wasn't really that critical of our draft. I actually really liked our draft because my top 3 needs were running back, defensive end, and guard, and I felt like we got all those guys. But if somehow when day 1 comes here and if Cam Robinson is somehow on the bench, then I will be kind of pissed off at our draft class, because we did not do much to improve our offensive line. All we did was pretty much switch out Kelvin Beachum for Brandon Albert, and how much of an upgrade is that really? I mean, Brandon Albert should help a little better in the run game because Kelvin Beachum was struggling a bit last year when it comes to power in that knee because of his ACL tear. But really, if Cam Robinson is not starting at some position, I will probably be pretty pissed off. Now, next up, I have the secondary. Now, the thing with the secondary, at both cornerbacks and safeties, there's a clear divide between the starters and the backups. And on top of that, there's quite a little bit of injury going on. Jalen Ramsey is starting off on the PUP. Aaron Coughlin is starting off on the PUP list. And Barry Church and Tashawn Gibson both sat out of all of OTAs. So there's a lot of injury going on. And I'm a little bit concerned with Aaron Coughlin because he sat out all of OTAs with his injury. And then now he's going to be sitting out of the beginning of training camp. So that means that his injury was lingering, and I don't really like that. Now, the cornerbacks I think who are going to be backing us up are Josh Johnson and Jalen Myrick. So it'll give us plenty of opportunity to be able to look after them. And with our safety position, that's really, I feel like, our weakest link on the defense. I don't feel that comfortable with Barry Church and Tashawn Gibson really at all. I mean, I think both of them can play at a pretty good level, but at the same time, both these guys have been sitting out of these OTA practices. Hopefully they're not sitting out at these training camp practices, so definitely keep an eye on that. And then number 3, I have Tom Coughlin. Now, when he got signed on originally as the executive vice president of football operations, a lot of people, especially nationally, were like, how involved is he going to be in the coaching? Like, how much coaching is he going to be doing? And that's really going to be answered at training camp once fans actually are able to get access. Now, with Tom Coughlin, I am pretty confident in the fact that he's probably not going to be going out there blowing the whistle and calling people together and getting their act straight or calling upon group meetings. But what I'm kind of curious about is he going to try to kind of approach any of these guys individually? Like, say he puts a player and brings him to the side and starts talking about him through, you know, different, maybe trying to work on his technique or something like that. Because even that is coaching. And Tom Coughlin is going to be a guy, he's admitted himself, he's going to be at every training camp practice. So how involved is he going to be? Is he going to be going out and giving like any kind of pointers? And it'll just be interesting to see if he's at all hands-on in this new executive role that he has. And then one last note, I didn't really get to talk about this too much, actually much at all, but our fullback Marquez Williams, the guy that we drafted in the 7th round out of Miami, he got placed on a PUP list, which is really disappointing because I was really excited to kind of see that competition at fullback. I thought that was a really cool, you know, low-key battle that was going to go on, but it's an undisclosed injury. They're not really stating why he's on a PUP list, so hopefully he gets off of that soon. And, you know, he's the guy that I want him to make it over Tommy Buchanan just because the dude's a freaking tank, and I really think it's his job to lose. And I think it'd be so cool to see Leonard Fournette and Marquez Williams tearing up that backfield. But that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to subscribe to me. I'm going to be doing a lot of coverage over these next few weeks all the way up to regular season. You can get all your Jaguar news here, get all your Jaguar analysis here, you know, on my channel, or you can go to ginjag.com for all that. And I'm so pumped that the season is pretty much here. No more dead period. It's time to actually get down to football. You know what I mean? And I think, 2 weeks from Thursday is our first preseason game. So it's definitely approaching fast. And before we know it, September 10th will be here when we face off against the Houston Texans. So it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. And I appreciate you guys watching this video. This is UCF Jaguar coming at you from ginjag.com, and I'm out.